Welcome back to the Starfighter podcast, where we talk exciting entertainment, mostly nerdy, and a bunch of other stuff here and there. Um, we, of course, want to thank you for joining us, whether it's on the live show here, watching live, or on the replay. We appreciate it. I am your host, Dom, as always, and looking forward to talking about the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4. That is what we're here for tonight. Very exciting stuff. Before we get into that, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. Definitely am hoping to hear some of your comments again this week for this episode, how you enjoyed it. Hoping to get some participation live like we usually do. But of course, again, if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts, any theories, any Easter eggs that we might have missed. Definitely let us know. And even before we get into that, first let me start up the music real quick. Let me get the music going. Also, hope you guys are doing well tonight. Hope you're having a good week. All right. So we should be good to go. So music is rolling. And before we get started on the review, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the studio, mainly just this background here. I will unblur the screen for you in just a second. Here we go. So the new studio is pretty much all done. I'll be showing off some more of it at another time. But yeah, really excited about this new artwork here. We've got a couple different pictures, but of course, really cool art, local artist here in Washington. He's got them all these characters stacked on top of each other. Two of them are Star Wars. And then this one right here is like some Smash Bros characters. So basically everything that I love in pop culture, but I'll let you take a look. We've got the light side. Sorry, it's reversed. We got the light side and then the dark side and then your Smash Bros characters, but pretty excited about them. Anyways, pretty cool. Yeah, so we may have a special guest coming on. We will see. If not, we'll be flying solo, and that's all good too. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what you think about this. So, on the subject of Boba Fett, one of my good friends, Anthony, recently got me a few Lego sets. And so this is one of them right here. This is the new Boba Fett ship. This is from The Mandalorian, one of the new sets. So really excited about this. Now that I have more room in the studio and I've got space to set up, I have a ton of really amazing sets and new sets to build. I'm going to be setting those up and giving you guys more of a look at the studio at another time, but it's coming together. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing a video of me putting together some of that, and then we can kind of just have like an open talk. Maybe that could be fun. And if that Boba Fett one doesn't excite you, maybe this next one will. It's a heavy one. We've got a AT Walker right here. From Hoth from episode 5. This is also a newer set, of course, from the original trilogy. But very, very cool. And so that's something I've thought about doing maybe on the stream, or maybe I'll just do a video and put it together pre-taped. We'll see. But let me know in the comment section if you guys would be interested in that. Maybe we'll do like a Lego episode one of these days too, kind of just talk about cool Lego sets. I have a ton of really awesome Star Wars ones, especially, but yeah, that is all for kind of like the I guess supplementary talk here in the intro. We can pretty much get started with our review. And thanks again, guys, for joining us. All right, the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4, The Gathering Storm. What do you guys think of this episode this week? Um, because we're coming off of last week's episode, which was highly controversial with the fans, and I think that it's very safe to say that there's a lot of controversy from last week's episode. Um, I know I think I made it pretty clear um, in last week's show about how I felt about it, and it did have some great moments, but of course the bad stuff unfortunately overpowered everything, and really kind of sent it off into a weird direction. And I think for this episode, for me in particular, we kind of got back on track with where we needed to be with the story, with Boba, and I thought it was pretty exciting. Those are kind of just my initial thoughts, but let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching on the replay your thoughts on this episode, and of course we'll do a little breakdown here and talk more in depth about stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm much happier with this episode um, than last week's episode. So yeah, let's get into it. Everything kind of starts out with the back to tank again, and the majority of this episode was in a flashback scene. And I thought it was probably one of the better ones actually, and for a good reason too. I think it's tying stuff clearly back into the things that we saw with Mandalorian, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so we start out in the back to tank, and he has the flashback. We're at this campfire with him and the bantha. Boba has totally turned into a pet person, for sure. I mean, he's got a connection to the bantha, the rancor. Um, he even started to warm up to that one like weird Tuscan Raider dog or whatever, like dog lizard. I don't know. But he's becoming a or a pet person, I should say. So kind of funny there. Um, but anyways, this episode really goes in depth with him finding Fennec, and we saw that scene from Mandalorian season 1. I believe it's episode 7. This is kind of where like the fans, especially during that season 1 of Mandalorian, a lot of the fans were speculating, is that Boba who's finding Fennec on Tatooine? We hear the spurs of his boots, and it's pretty interesting because I'll have to go back and watch it. I know that's something, and let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Or maybe I missed something, but that's something kind of, it's fairly small, but also just really interesting because I did hear the spurs in the scene. I had to kind of watch the scene over again and turn the volume up. I heard them, but um, you don't really see them, I don't think. So kind of interesting. I'm curious to know if you saw them in Mandalorian. I think it's pretty much the same scene though, so not quite sure there. But in any case, it does turn out to be Boba Fett, of course, who rescues her. Um, and I guess you could say there's this nice poetry about this story that we see. Similar beats are kind of happening because, of course, Boba Fett was left for dead, as he mentions and as he tells her, left for dead on the sands of Tatooine, same as Fennec. And so instantly they have that to relate to, and kind of start to build their friendship, their relationship from here. And I think that's a really strong part about this show and about their dynamics, that that carries on forward with the story. So having this episode be more about that, I think, was really good and really important to kind of get everything back on track, like I mentioned. Um, but anyways, he can tell that she's, pretty badly hurt. It was a blaster shot to the gut, as he said. And so he goes to get her some help. He ends up taking her to um, this group who, they modify people. And so we're also seeing some similarities here with like the new group of kids. I've been calling them the spy kids. Um, in the present timeline that we saw last week, one of the bad things about last week's episode, in my opinion. But anyways, we get to see kind of, I guess, another group of, you know, these kids who modify um, people using like droid parts and stuff like that. Um, and the one guy was kind of reluctant. Didn't acted like he didn't have time, and then Boba, of course, is like, well, she's dying, and some hands him some credits. So that kind of gets everything rolling, um, and then they're able to go from there and get her the modifications that helps her out. Before we keep going with the breakdown, with the review, our guest has arrived. If he's ready to join the stream, I will bring him on. Let me know if you're good to go. Good to go? All right. Here we go, guys. You may have seen him once or twice. Jake Edge, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm hoping my internet holds up right now. It's having some issues, so let me know how out of touch I am.
It's a little, it's a little off, but not too bad.
All right, for sure. All right.
You got the wired connection going, right? With
Mm-hmm.
the headphones. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I should be good, except for the internet, and that's where I'm at in life, just like Ethan. So
yeah. But hey, man, I kind of just started just a little bit, but still pretty much in the very beginning of the episode. But how are you liking? We'll pause for a minute. How are you liking the show so far?
Uh, it's a little. I like it. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed honestly the flashbacks. I think we talked about it once before, and I've enjoyed the flashbacks. I feel like a lot more than what's going on in the present, just because it feels way more Boba Fett and like him going through like a rebirthing of a character. And then when we get to like the present, it's more just like this new guy that we don't know yet. So I'm excited to see what happens, but it's been good so far. Ups and downs for sure, but it's been good.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely some shaky stuff in there. I was kind of saying at the beginning of the episode tonight how I feel like this episode helped us get back on track, kind of where I think we need to be going with this show. Because last week there was a lot of controversy with the fans, rightfully so. I think there was a lot of stuff that just felt like it really didn't fit, um, and was kind of way out of left field. But
Yeah.
would you kind of tend to agree with that, or?
I would just, because you know me, and I've even said this about some of the Marvel stuff that came out this year. Like, I don't usually like it until we're kind of like deep in it. And I think that's where we have to be at as fans with this TV show. Um, yeah, it's kind of like where we're at with this TV show, and like it's the intro to it. I think season two is going to be way better. I think we just have to be patient with like what's going on right now. I think that if they're taking it the direction I think they're going to take it, it's going to be a pretty epic experience. So I'm excited to see where they take it. But as of right now, I'm just waiting. Just waiting.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's get back into the review. Um, so I just went over kind of the back to tank. scene again. We've got the flashback, which is most of the episode. Um, and campfire. He meets up with Fennec. He finds her and takes her to those guys who kind of do these modifications to her, like the droid modifications. What do you think of that scene? I wasn't too. Yeah, I felt like that they kind of stood out as very similar to like the kids in last week's episode. Um, just a little bit weird. Don't exactly feel like they really fit. Mainly so like with the vibe of Tatooine. I don't think they really fit. I think that that'd be more something that you might see on like Coruscant or a different planet like that. Um, but I thought as far as like when she was getting her modifications, I thought it was kind of cool seeing all like the moving parts and stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was like really interesting. I'm gonna jump on board with the conspiracy theory that's going around online right now, saying that the guy with those quote unquote goggles was just wearing glasses and had no robotic stuff happening. He just wanted to fit in with the click. Um, so I'm going off that theory, but no, I thought it was really cool. It was interesting, like you said, like it really doesn't fit that vibe of Tatooine like at all. Like when you think of Tatooine, you don't think of like neon colored anything, quite
Yeah,
frankly,
exactly.
right? Or like shiny robot parts at all. Like you, when you think of Tatooine, you think of it as like a desert planet that people have to like scrap parts from like ships that have been broken down for years, like Ray does in the beginning
Right.
of Force Awakens, right? So it's kind of out of place, but I appreciated the limited time that we got with that in this episode compared to last time. But yeah, it's just kind of weird to see. But I'll put up with it. It was kind of weird, the techno music and stuff when he was putting them together. I really have to say this because it really got me. It really did.
Yeah.
When he was putting it together, the music and stuff was really throwing me off. I enjoyed what they were trying to do, but it kind of reminded me of like that SpongeBob episode when Mr. Krabs turns into a robot, supposedly, and like that music that was playing for whatever reason, like just kind of reminded me of like this like techno, just weirdness going on. But yeah, it was okay. It was better than the last episode. I'll say that much. So
Yeah, for sure. So he, finally gets Fennec fixed up and they're able to she wakes up, they're able to have this conversation, kind of touch base. He gives her basically his life story, what's been going on, and again they realize that they have um this common factor with both of their lives kind of being left for dead on Tatooine. I kind of think that that's where their relationship really kicks off. And I thought was something that's really interesting too. He may have mentioned this later on, or a little bit later on, or it might have been right now. But um, just kind of that point about how he's definitely changed, and so Fennec was saying because he was telling her about his experiences with the Tusken Raiders and them taking him into their tribe, and they wanted to help one another, and she was saying that that made him soft basically. And I feel like that's kind of what everyone's been saying, like that's kind of like what the majority of the audience I think has been feeling, myself included, is that um especially with last week's episode, I mentioned in my review, it's like um anyone can say anything to him. Like whatever, they can say whatever they want to him, they can pretty much do whatever they want to him. There's not like a whole lot of consequences because he's not like as threatening or as intimidating. Like the just like that respect isn't there like it should be. um so I guess to Fennec's point about him maybe being kind of soft, I thought was pretty interesting, and um definitely on the nose. And then of course he says that it's made him stronger, so I don't know, maybe we'll start to see, I don't know, some kind of change. But what do you think about that?
yeah, see, I'm on the opposite side of the fence than you are. I think it 100% made him stronger. I think a lot. the whole point of this like series with Boba Fett right now is like he's a clone that had a dad that taught him the ways of Mandalore as best he could because his dad actually is from Mandalore. And he's like alone, and so this is like really about like him trying to find like a new family that he can trust. And I agree with him wholeheartedly that it made him stronger. He makes a great point too, like, you know, I'm not basically like a strength in numbers kind of thing, like you're only as strong as your tribe or whatever he says. But I think that him like you've seen him kind of grow into like caring about certain things. And when someone has something to care about and they go off to war, if you have someone back at home that you're like a wife or something, like you have something to fight for in that war. And I think that 100% it makes him a lot stronger having like a chip on his shoulder. And I don't want to say this because it's I have to say it because it's one of the things that I get right out of the thousand things that I've said. But I told you way back, I think episode 1, I was like, dude, his these Tuscans aren't gonna last, and his family's gonna get massacred like these Tuscans, and it's gonna like set off like what he's doing. But
Yeah,
yeah, once you have like that thing to fight for, I think it made him stronger. Like, I mean, what would he be doing? Like, what's the purpose of his life right now without um, family? Basically, is like the point of the whole story. So I think it's good. Like he's brought Finnick in. He wants her to be part of his family. He's not. He's like not easing her and saying that you have to be stuck with me. That was like a pretty big point. This whole episode was saying like you're a free woman and you could like follow me if you want or do whatever you want. So it's I'm feeling it. I think it made him stronger. I do. I don't think he went soft. And like I said, it's like a rebirth, right? So like we're just starting to see like this new character, and we haven't seen him yet, but I bet you he's gonna just start. We saw him just kill a bunch of guys on bikes. He's not soft, okay? Like he just took out like a, a whole gang of guys just cause, right? They killed his like.
right.
So yeah, I don't know. That's how I
Yeah,
feel.
I could see that. The only thing that I will definitely disagree on is, because Boba Fett isn't. His dad was Mandalorian, Jango Fett was Mandalorian, but Boba Fett's not. And so definitely in, I don't know if they're gonna kind of like rewrite canon a little bit, and we'll get to know more. But um, in the past, he hasn't like really had any kind of upbringing with the Mandalorian culture. But maybe they're starting to say that maybe he was taught a little bit of thing, like some things, but he definitely like didn't adopt the culture. I think that's safe to say. That
Okay.
only his dad was really involved with that. Um, but yeah, I know you have kind of like more theories going into from this into Mandalorian and vice versa later on. So we'll touch back on that. But again, want to thank everyone for joining us live, and definitely comment in the live chat your guys' thoughts on the episode. And if you're watching on the replay, leave us some comments too. So he tells Fennec that he's got to go and find, his ship, the Slave One. I don't want to be calling it the Fire Spray. It's the Slave One. Um, uh,
Supposedly, fire spray is like the
yeah,
type of
it's
ship,
the type.
right?
It's the type.
Okay. You can call
Um,
it fire spray if you want. You won't be wrong. No one will hate you. You know.
yeah. I mean, yeah. To be fair, she would probably she would understand Fire Spray most likely more than the Slave One, but I don't like. There's that
No,
whole thing with them trying to get rid
it's
of the name, and that was kind of dumb.
yeah, it's slave one though, for real.
Yeah. And so she agreed to help him out, and yeah, what do you think of this mission? I thought it was pretty fun going back to the palace and them taking back the ship. If you want to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I actually had to watch that scene twice. I wasn't really paying attention the first time I saw it, but it really just shows basically how well like they're one of the things that's pointed out across this whole episode is like the similarities between Finnick and Boba, and their skill sets like work so well together. It's like very cool to see them take out just like a bunch of guys. That little robot thing that went into the palace beforehand, dude, and
Yeah.
like just checked everything out. That was really cool to see. I actually rooted for like one of those little droids for once because usually I hate them. Um, but Yeah, I thought it was good. I really don't have too much to say on it besides like I need to see more of it. I got to see more of Finnick and like Boba like just taking people out, and I'm hoping that's where they're taking us. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
so that little droid, like the little device that goes out to kind of get a map of everything, is kind of a callback to episode 1 where Darth Maul sends out his droid to do the same thing for him. I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember that, scene, but that was pretty cool.
Are you talking about when he first lands on Tatooine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah,
So, pretty cool. Um
yeah, I can remember that.
and yeah, I thought the action scenes, them inside Jabba's palace, kind of taking out all the guards. Like, um, Fennec is just so awesome, especially when she finally, she kind of
Dude,
like shoots down the people that she can, and then she's able to jump up like um onto the ship, and then she's fighting that one guy, and like just totally like throws him over her back, and it was pretty awesome.
dude, yeah, her hand-to-hand combat skills are obviously like phenomenal. She was taking down people I've seen in like the Clone Wars, like certain species or whatever you want to call them, alien races. Like she was kicking their butt, and I've seen them like wreck other people. So that was really cool to see. I do have a question though for you, Dom.
Yeah.
Um, why do they keep hiring these green hogs as like bodyguards when they clearly suck at being bodyguards? Like these guys should be into tech or being in computer sales or something. I don't know what they're doing being bodyguards. But what's up with that, man? Do you think those
I
were the
think
same
it
two guys?
no no, and it's not like I doubt that they're same that they were the same. I think the Gamorrean guards have kind of just like become like a staple with like the whole aesthetic of like Jabba's palace. I
Yeah,
think they almost kind of go hand in hand.
it's
Um,
true, I suppose. Yeah.
but I mean, and you know what? Maybe John and Dave, they just really like them. They really like the species. Because
Hmm.
we got them a couple times in Mandalorian. I mean,
True.
I really like that one like wrestling scene with Mandalorian
Yes.
season 1 episode 1. I mean, that was
Mm,
so cool
season
to
two,
me.
episode one.
Season 2 episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. Yeah. I do have to mention one thing that a couple of things because we're leaving out a lot of droid material here. But I don't know how long you want to be on here, so I'll just say what the one thing I really thought that like
Got like
stuck out.
15 minutes.
Okay, so one of the like little Easter eggs that I picked out for me was when they first get into the palace when they're sneaking in and that droid with the knives starts spinning its knives. I was like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
shoot, like General Grievous has been given lessons. Like it just was total General Grievous like vibes for me, and I just got a kick out of it, like just wielding its knives like a Jedi warrior. So I enjoyed
Also that
that.
little yeah, I did too. Also that little device that Fennec uses to cut the bars and then also to take out the droid was really cool as well.
Yeah, that like really reminded me of if you have ever seen the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie with the twill or whatever they use. It kind of glitters like that. So that's I think they ripped it off from the Santa Claus movie.
But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So
Yeah.
anyways, after they grab the ship, they go and hunt down the Nikto biker gang that was kind of behind the killing of the Tusken Raiders, and like you mentioned, he's got that chip on his shoulder. I think a lot of us are kind of like speculating too, though, that it's not just this biker gang that's behind it; that it's also the Pikes that were behind it as well. Um, I
Oh,
guess we don't.
100%.
I guess we don't know.
No,
Well,
we
you're saying
know.
not. Okay. Yeah,
No, we
I
know.
mean, I think it would definitely make a lot of sense. I think it makes sense. But
But
uh,
I don't even think it's the Pikes. I mean, it was the Pikes, but we'll get to it later. But yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, but he's got to work with what he's got. So he takes out this biker gang, and yeah, this is more of I think the Boba Fett that a lot of us wanted to see, or at least we're kind of just wondering, is this, I guess, like, um does he still have like that dark side? Does he still have like this aggressive nature? And the answer is yes. Um, you know, he like you mentioned, he hasn't really gone soft. So I think, and I really like the points that you made too about when he has like more of like something that's really giving him the motivation or something, um like you mentioned, maybe someone or something that he really cares about that's kind of affecting him. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um
The
Definitely
man's
pretty cool.
lonely, bro.
Yeah.
He needs a family, so he'll kill for it. You know.
Um yeah, it seems like it. It was kind of strange. So after he takes out the biker gang, which was a pretty awesome scene, um he wants to go back for his armor, which he thinks is in the Sarlacc pit. So he must have forgotten that he came out of the Sarlacc pit with it. Um and I know people have made the point that he was probably like super out of it, dehydrated. Um so, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think clearly it was a bad idea. I mean, he only like caused like a lot of damage to himself, but he didn't know. Anyways, it was cool to see Fennec use the seismic charge again
Uh,
and to drop that into the Sarlacc pit. It of course has like a very iconic sound.
wow.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I can do it again
So
for you if you'd like.
I think that was spot on. Um, so yeah, anything you wanted to mention with this scene before we
I got
move
some
forward?
questions for you, my man.
Okay.
That's what I got. So, when the heck did this thing die, or did it die? And how the heck did he get out of there? Because I've heard people speculate now that he was burped up out of it or regurgitated out of it. Because clearly, if he cut out of it, it would have like almost surely killed the thing after a few days because it doesn't have one of those baths to take like Boba Fett to heal.
Yeah.
And so like what do you like do you think he got like how did he get out? And then
Well, it showed you that he burned his way out with his
okay, so
flamethrower.
you think he just like burned his way out and that thing was cuz when he came out some of the tentacles were hanging out of it too. So people were like, okay, like all right. And then it came and it was still alive. So I'm kind of questioning too like how long was he in there? Like
Well,
I
he
don't know
said
if
at
you've
least
gone
a
into
couple.
it.
He said at least a couple years.
He went what?
Yeah, he said years.
Wait, when?
Um,
What?
and so, and you know what? I might have to go back and watch it again. But he did mention years, and I don't know if that was his time in the Sarlacc pit, or if that was his time with the Tusken Raiders, or if he meant that
Between
like,
everything?
or if he
Okay.
meant that as like a collective whole.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's important to remember that this is takes place after Return of the Jedi, but before Force Awakens. Same with Mandalorian. So,
Well, there's like what 20 years between at least this and Force Awakens, because in this series too,
and we don't know how old he was in
Kylo hasn't been
Return of
born
the
yet.
Jedi. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't know how old Boba Fett was when Han hit him into the Sarlacc pit.
we don't, do we? Huh? Yeah, that's Wait, what? We don't
And
from
also
Star Wars
also he's a
3.
clone. Also he's a clone, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh. Conversation void. Okay. Regardless, yeah, I just didn't know. I thought it was a cool scene. I thought it was really interesting. I kind of knew that that thing wasn't dead. I was confused the whole time, being like, "Bro, you saw a bunch of like little sand midget people. What are their names? The
The Jawas.
Jawas. Them dang Jawas taking all your gear off, homeboy." So, I was kind of confused, but I was happy to see the seismic charge as well. Cut something in
Yeah.
half again, so that was a good time. Yeah,
All right, let's talk about the scene with Chrysanthemum at the bar. I thought this was
I
pretty
love.
awesome.
I love
Pretty
this
awesome.
scene so much, dude.
So a
Oh,
little bit of just a little bit of context for this, um, doing my research, but Wookiees and Trandoshans, who he's sizing up for just a minute. He's having his drink and sizing them up um, for a minute. And so Wookiees and Trandoshans have a history of hating each other, like
that's a
ha-
fact. Yeah.
strong hatred for each other. The Trandoshans were originally the species that enslaved the Wookiees,
Mm.
and just
It's
like
a classic hair versus hairless race thing that's going
right,
on. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There's some hate animosity going on between that, but yeah.
yeah, and so clearly he's holding on to all of those feelings. He makes it pretty clear. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love those. She said the name of them too, but like the things he has on his fists.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I forget what they're called though. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but these electric knuckles, super cool. But yeah, he goes off in this bar scene. Boba is kind of watching him do his thing, and then he totally rips the arm off of that one Trandoshan, um, as Wookiees are known for doing.
He likes to
So
rip the limbs off of people. It's a
yeah,
well-known fact. It's a tradition in the Wookiee culture.
right. I didn't know that there's a deleted scene um for I think it's
Solo,
for
does he get his arms ripped off?
no Force Awakens where
Oh,
Chewie
shoot.
rips the arm off of he rips the arm
Sorry.
off of Unkar Plot, which is the guy that is has basically owns Ray. You know what
Owns Ray? Whoa. Bro, what are we getting into? Wait,
you know what I'm
what?
talking about? Well,
No, I've never.
she's basically a slave to him, Unkar
The
Plot.
fat guy, the
Yeah.
Jello looking guy that looks like he was
Yeah,
like
so there's
Pizza
a
the
deleted
Hut, but
scene.
Jello the Hut.
There's a deleted scene where Chewie rips his arm off. But anyways, that's just a little fun fact. So awesome scene here in the bar. And then Boba, of course, kind of goes after him and recruits him. I think this is setting up quite a bit for the next few episodes. And I think it's something that we were probably hoping for too, to see more of this guy. I mean, I think the audience is really taken to him. He's a super awesome character. He looks great as well, especially in the show.
Mm.
Um, and I know there's some hardcore fans out there that really like his character from the comics, and like we've mentioned before, Boba and Chris Anton have a past together, working together. So yeah, he's part of the Boba crew,
Hmm.
and
I do have to correct my mistake. They both worked for Jabba, not Darth Vader, I think. So,
oh, gotcha.
but it doesn't seem like that in the show. I mean, it kind of seems like he doesn't fear him, like he kind of knows him. Maybe he just knows about him.
Yeah,
But every time that I see him with him, it's not like they've interacted before. It doesn't catch me that way. So
right.
I don't know if they're changing it for the series or not, but it seems like they're starting fresh with them, for sure. And that bar scene was glorious. That was like the best bar scene I've ever witnessed, like bar fight. I mean, the guy got his arm ripped off after the lady was like, "I'll buy all your drinks for you." And he's like, "Yeah, but I like ripping arms off more." Ripped it off. Sorry, lady. Paid her. Walked out the club, and I was like, "Woo, we got a big baller in the house
Right.
here." Dude, yeah, with his gold knuckles, just punching people. Yeah, heck no, man. What
Yeah.
was that
So
guy doing too? Did you see? I gotta say one thing though. Who hits a man with a vase on his shoulder pads? Okay, his metal spiked shoulder pad. Like you could have hit him in the head. Like that was just. I was confused in that moment in time. I was like, that was a weak effort, my man. You're definitely gonna die now. So yes, he deserved to get his arm ripped off. That's my stance on that fight.
so we only got a few more minutes here. We do got have to wrap up soon, but we'll kind of go through the last scene. Basically, this meeting with the leaders, and long story short, they come to the conclusion that they're not going to get involved. They're not going to team up with Boba, but they've also agreed to stay neutral and not turn against Boba and go with like the mayor and his team
Yeah.
when this war inevitably breaks out. Um, and our episode ends with Boba and Fennec kind of like on the rooftop and talking about the whole situation and Boba saying that he doesn't trust them and they're gonna do what's at the end of the day what benefits them. So it looks like they have their work cut out for them for sure. But the amazing part about this ending, and I went and I watched it again, is that he talks about getting some more help, and Fennec says something to the effect of you have to know where to look for to find that help, and you hear the Mandalorian theme in you know in the background. You get to hear the theme song for Mandalorian, so I think it's pretty much a done deal that we're going to see the Mandalorian Din Djarin next week. I think he'll get recruited to help Boba and Fennec join the squad. And I think that'll be awesome.
Hmm.
But any final thoughts on the episode? Any theories before we get out of here?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, so I loved the ending of this episode. I thought it was uh, intriguing to say the least, and may tell us where we're headed in this Star Wars universe that's happening. Um, Something that's kind of floating around right now is the fact that maybe the Pike Syndicate um, is running everything. There's, also the First Order, right? So maybe the First Order is going planet to planet, stripping everything of their like most valuable resources, aka spice on Tatooine, and whatever they need from other places. Mandalorian, they on Mandalore they have this like special metal. I don't know if you've ever heard of it that makes all their armor. And so maybe we saw those people in Mandalorian season 2 being created out of that special metal, those robots. So I think that the First Order is going place to place right now, as
I
we
don't know if
know.
they had Beskar armor, the Death Troopers.
It's true. Maybe they didn't have pure Beskar armor. Maybe they haven't found the secret on Mandalore yet, and maybe they're using some sort of knockoff form of it. 100% true. That's possible. All I know is there's something called the First Order that's roaming about the world of Star Wars right now at this very time, trying to build power. And if you want to build power, you got to take resources and finance, right? So you got to take all the money, all the resources from specific people and hold them under your thumb, right? So they're going through, they're taking all the stuff. I'm hoping the Pike Syndicate is probably just like a small fraction of what the First Order is originating from. Like they're think of like Kingpin from like the Marvel universe, but like going and turning into Thanos. Like he's on his journey right now to like take over different crime worlds to like force them, right? So I'm thinking Mando comes back, hopefully, cross our fingers, helps Boba Fett with what he's doing right now, makes a truce with him to help him fight this battle on Mandalore in the future in season 3, because we don't really have any idea what's going on with season 3 of Mandalorian yet. So I'm hoping that happens. If not, we heard the music. If least of my things that I would love to see come back, if it's not Mando for this season of Boba Fett, would be at least Bill Burr's character,
Oh
because he
yeah.
quote unquote died, but he didn't die. We know he didn't die. So and what we just heard Boba Fett explain in the last episode was the best thing that you could do is have people think you're dead. So maybe we get to see like a Bill Burr come back, which would be really cool.
I don't remember him dying.
Supposedly he blew up. So uh, that's what the rumor is around town. But we
You
also
might
know
be
Dave
right. I just
Filoni.
I don't remember for some reason. Drawing a blank.
Yeah, I didn't really remember it either until I got reminded. But we know Filoni's coming back, so we know they're going to introduce some sort of new character in the next episode or two from hopefully one of the animated series. And this might be a crazy conspiracy theory. And I brought it up to Dom. I don't know if I was live with him or not, but I brought it up to him. Oh, we were live. And I said, watch Omega like show up with some Bad Batch characters. Live action would be
Oh,
super cool.
yeah, I would.
So maybe that's kind of like what they're going for right now. They're gonna make Omega a bigger character in the series, and Filoni wants to do it right. So
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see,
that'd be
man.
really cool.
There's a lot of mystery out there that's happening. But what do you think, man? What's your theory? Where do you think this is going? What's happening? What's going in
Yeah,
Dom's head?
so I guess a lot of people are saying that Filoni's coming back to do next week's episode. So that would kind of make sense, especially, he wants to really be hands-on with one of the characters that he's created. Um, I really think we're gonna get Din Djarin. Maybe we'll get multiple people. I think that's very possible. Um, so then maybe we'll get Din Djarin and we'll get Omega. Um, and I think that it's also possible to see Cad Bane come into the picture, either with on Boba's team or with the mayor, and then we also might see,
Dude, live action, that'd be so
yeah,
gnarly.
I mean Cad Bane's one of my favorite characters, and then we might see Kira from Solo, who works with she worked for Brian Voss, now works for Darth Maul. Or well, actually, at this time, she wouldn't work for Darth Maul because he's already dead at this time. Um, he's really dead at this time. So she would
Wait, is he?
wait. Actually,
Well, here's what I was gonna say actually
yes, he
before
is.
you go
He
on
is
this.
because
Is
this is
he?
after.
Because
Yeah, he definitely is because he dies
this
in
after
spoiler.
Solo,
Spoiler. He
obviously.
dies for the second time, once and for all. In
For the
in
second
Rebels. In
time.
Rebels. And
uh,
that was quite a bit earlier than this. So,
that
um,
was, wasn't it? Okay, well that thank God I didn't see my other theory about
but Kira was still
him running
working
that stuff.
with she was working with, what is it, Crimson Dawn, who was
Yeah.
involved
Mm-hmm.
with the Black Sun and the Pike Syndicate. So they were all kind of in cahoots for a while, so that might still be the case here. So maybe we'll see Cad Bane and Kira come into the picture as well. That'd be really awesome, I think. um but yeah, we got to close things out for our show tonight. um
Sorry, man. I always keep you
no,
way
no,
too
no,
long, and that's my apologies. I
no,
apologize to everyone out there on
it's
YouTube,
all
man.
good. It's all good. You didn't. It was awesome. Glad you could make it though, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, well, what you're saying about Crimson Dawn was what I was instead of the First Order taking over Mando, I kind of have like was going for like a Crimson Dawn vibe or whatever, and having Maul kind of checking that place out, and maybe we could see like a Maul experience in like season 2 of Boba Fett or season 3 of
No,
Mando.
he's already dead at this point.
Dude, if you can die once and come back, you could die twice and come back. That's just my
No,
logic of Star Wars, bro. Okay.
no, he had the perfect ending.
We'll find out. A world
He's not
between
gonna.
worlds, my man.
Oh,
He's
okay.
coming back.
So someone pulls him out through a portal.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah, just pulling some craziness
The
out.
spy
Sorry.
the spy kids pull him out
Yeah.
through the portal.
Yeah, yeah.
Give him a set of like new legs and new arms.
Yeah,
Just
he's
get.
been watching everything through that guy's one eye this whole time. He's been part of the Crimson Dawn. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry. We're going
Don't
on a
be,
rant
don't
now.
be. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for tonight's show. We are tuning. Thanks for tuning in. We are closing out here. Hopefully, you guys will tune back in next week as we go over episode 5 for the Book of Boba Fett. Also, we'll be working on that next trivia night episode, hopefully soon. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Jake, for being on the show tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we will catch you guys in the next one.